Welcome to Apex Esports League. I'm JT. Tonight we've got Project Cars 2, and it's for the final round of the Pagnian Imports V8 Supercar Championship. And tonight's round is Bathurst Mount Panorama. So plenty of exciting action in the V8s around the mountain tonight. So tonight's session, a little bit different to our normal routine. So set into the final race structure. We've got just the one big race, and it's a full 30 laps. We're heading over into a 15-minute practice with weather is light cloud, 15 minutes of qualifying, weather is medium cloud. Then we'll have a 3-minute break before we head into the race, and then we'll head over and do the 30 laps. Weather is heavy cloud to light cloud through to clear, and there is a mandatory pit. Last week we had, after the 4th round, Sami still leading the championship. She's got a strong lead with 948 points. And then we have Philly, Corby, DK, Gallen, and Demon all fighting for a spot on the podium. And then the sprint race last week, we're at Dubai. We had Demon finish strongly after qualifying. Pole took victory, and we're having Sami take the fastest lap. And then in the main race, a full clean sweep for Sami, taking pole, the victory, and the fastest lap. So we'll head over and look at the track now. And of course, we are over in Australia for Bathurst Mount Panorama. Game session time is starting at 9 AM. Track length is 6.21 kilometers, and there's 23 turns. And this is an awesome track, and it is very much a race of attrition. So over the course of 30 laps, will be possibly a few casualties going around the track, so hopefully all the drivers can get a good run. If you're just joining us for the stream, don't forget to hit that follow button. We do go live with Project Cars on Thursday night, 7:30 PM Australian Eastern Daylight Time, and then also iRacing on Monday nights at the same time. We did just wrap up our Super 2 series, so we've had plenty of V8 action over the last 5 weeks. I think that may be Corby just up ahead, showing a little bit of lag at the moment. When you do join us for the stream, there is a bunch of sound effects controls underneath the stream. We have some fun set where you can applaud, cheer, boo, and all other fun sound effects. Don't forget to head over to our other social media links, our Facebook page and our YouTube. It's fb.com/Apex Esports League. And then bit.ly/Apex ESL, and it is case sensitive. That will take you to our YouTube page. All our past broadcasts do get saved over to there, so there is plenty of racing content to go and see. See how our drivers have fared in all different other championship classes. And our championship leader, Sami. Worst case scenario for Sami, if he was to only qualify in 16th and then finish in 16th position, would secure him 102 points, which would be enough to still be able to win the championship, providing no penalties, no disconnect. Should be assured victory for Sami. And should be feeling pretty good coming into the final round at Bathurst. With such a strong lead, he's had a very strong championship. If he can finish it up with another good round tonight, it'll be a real great outcome for the full series for Sami. Billy has been chasing down Sami this whole series, been putting some big pressure on. Nice and close, right up against that wall through the cutting. Already pushing this Falcon to its limits on the first laps. Oh, sit into the wall. Demon having a cracker of a first race last week. I believe only narrowly just missing out on a clean sweep for the first race. Demon running in 6th for the championship. He's got 554 points. Just ahead of him is Gallon 350 on 564. DK Rush on 580. Colby on 602 and Philly on 704. We should see, yes, times coming on the board. First time laps. And Corby not mucking around. First time lap, a 159.9. Lands a 159.9 and then parks the car up. That's a pretty good opening lap. Gallon sets a 207.366. Marky mark him in a 205. Really also pushing in some pretty good pace for the first time lap. 202. A few lag skips. Will be interesting to see what setup that Corby was looking at running for that lap. Guys, can't go too light for their qualifying setup. They need to try and have enough fuel in there to be able to get around for the few laps that they'll be able to get in. Want at least a good 5 laps out there. They're doing well, landing at 205. Cookie Daddy in with the 209. A few cars showing a little bit of damage, but I think that may be a little bit of lag that we're seeing. That's Philly absolutely flying up. Requiring behind Balaki. Slides that car into the wall at cutting. Pushing a little bit too hard on cold tyres. Season is spring. Game session time did start at 9 AM. Track temperatures are going to be slightly cool. Weather is light cloud cover. As we progress into the qualifying session, game session time will be 10 AM. Weather that will actually progress through to medium cloud cover. So you could see track temperatures remain roughly the same. Drivers to get times on the boards. Rennie sets a 201. Gallon Simo in the 203s. Mick Cliff nails a 204. Make sure we try and cover everyone. Steph 991. Practice time at 207.192. Very nice time. Slightly misjudges the S's. I don't think she took any damage. The head farmer setting a 206. try and jump on board for a lap with someone in a moment. Okay, Minifex sets to 2:16. Sami comes through with a almost 2-minute flat. You just drop a wheel off. I think that may have been a little bit of lag. It seemed to skip going down pit straight. Looks like Corby's lining himself up for a golden lap. Can he improve on that minute 59? Cross back over to him in a moment. While he gets some temp down into those tyres down Conrod. Pretty mucky. Should be a timed lap here. Yes, that sets him a 2:05. Here we go, we'll jump on board with Corby's car, looking a little bit beat up. That is a result of lag. Over a held corner. The car is very loose at the moment. It's going all Simo. Pass on Mountain Straight. Just come out for an out lap. Lovely line up through turn 2. And feathering up after the quarry. Sorry, cutting, I should say. Ever of the throttle can be very slippery up through the next couple of corners. Park the car up, taking it rather cautiously as he comes up along the top of Skyline. A lot of use of engine braking for the S's. Try and keep as much speed without locking that car up so you can throw the car around. And the same engine braking and downshift for the dipper. Very cautious on that throttle as they exit out of Forest Elbow. Easily turned around on that corner exit. To 87 down Conrod. He moves out of the way, coming down into the chase. Let someone through. It was on a probably good hot lap, but they've just ran wide through the chase. It's cost them. Please have been given a slowdown. Down through Murray's corner. Nice and tight. On a 1:59, but it is a very casual lap around Bathurst. Barmy's car looking pretty well beat up. That was Rooney. Barmy's come in with a 1:59.998. He's only less than a tenth away from Corby's time. Hey, cool boy, thanks for jumping on the stream. Corby and Sami are going to be landing at 1:59s in the practice session. It's going to be pretty tight in the qualifying. All drivers have got times on the board now. There's only 13.9 seconds separating 16 cars. Marky Mark sets to 2:01.710. Grex gets time on the board. Also in the 2:01s. Billy makes his way up with a 2:01 that lap. Definitely having a little bit of bad luck in the first laps around. And the time spread has been reduced. It's now only 10.4 seconds. PK's set at 2:10. See if this lap will improve for him. Not sure if that was a car just blinking out. Oh, look at that. Gets up in with a almost 2-minute flat. Now there's only 6.8 seconds separating 16 cars. That is pretty tight. What a crack of a lap for DK. It's going to be some fierce competition over the course of 30 laps. We're already only seeing 6.8 seconds separating 16 drivers. And still a little bit loose. Corby as he comes down through Forest Elbow. And we have practice complete. 140 seconds to get their last laps done. Then we head over into 15 minutes of qualifying. And the final qualifying for the series. And there's 25 points on the line. That tail seeming to be a little bit light for Gallen as he goes across the top of the mountain. Not sure how much of that may be lag spikes. Did seem to take a pretty hefty wall hit and some damage on my screen, but glancing over at the stream didn't appear to be the case. That may very well be lag. Cliff wrapping up his last lap for practice. He's set at 2:04, 3:87. Will that improve? Like Balarki in the background doing a burnout. Yes, he improves, moves up to 9th, setting at 2:02. Gets a couple of seconds shaved off on that lap. That's a very tidy lap for Mick. Gallen improves his lap time. Those wall contacts definitely were lag, so it did count. There we go. Smoke show by Balarki before we head over into qualifying. What's left of his tread all the way down pit straight. See if he can get to the finish line over the course of the next 15 seconds before it cuts over. That car is certainly doing quite well. He'll smoke that up nicely. Well done, Balarki. And then also a good practice time, a 2:04.9. And then we have free practice for the final round of the Pagnian Esports V8 Supercar Championship. Corby 387 and Sami both getting in the 159.9. That's only 0.049 difference in between the two. And it's still only 2 tenths difference between first and third. And even our first five is basically just within 1 second, essentially. So it is very tight indeed. So over into qualifying now. 25 points on the line. Those 25 points are going to be crucial, especially to those duking it out for the remaining spots on the podium. I'm sure Sami's going to be doing his best to try and finish very strongly in the championship. He's had a few clean sweeps, having a great streak, only to be broken halfway through. We're coming in and landing some amazing times. Yeah, just joining us, don't forget to hit that follow button. Do appreciate it. Been great seeing that follower number grow larger and larger. We're almost at that 180 mark now. Don't forget to also head over to our YouTube and give that a subscribe. And we do have our Facebook page so you can keep up to date with all results, standings and post-race incident reports. And it is all set to full public, so as long as you've got a browser, you don't need the app or a Facebook account. You can just jump on and check it out. Or even if you've got an Android phone, you can even look for our app on the Play Store. If you search for Apex Esports League, you will find it. And it's got all the links to all our social media platforms and our results, and also handy things in there for our members as well, being able to report incidents and the like. And there's even some chat in there if you feel like getting in and getting amongst it with fellow sim racers. And we have drivers now out on their first timed lap. I jump on board with Demon Effects. Don't jinx him. No commentator's curse, hopefully. Heavy on the anchors down to the third gear. Head up into the cutting. Very nicely done through quarry. And the second, and feather that through off camber on that corner. And up the hill, a lot of slip. Nice and close to that wall. It is close to that curb, and then right out, nearly scraping that mirror on that exit wall. Very tidy line across Skyline. Flat foot as much as possible, heading down towards Forest Elbow. Careful not to lock up, very easy to lock up coming down the Forest Elbow. It is quite a steep descent. And whilst downshifting and under heavy braking, if you don't have that car straight, you will miss that corner. Should probably top out around 289 or 291. Down through the chase. Very cautious coming through final core of the chase. It's very easy to put that foot down a little bit too quick and then put that car into a spin. And curb to curb through Murray's. It's going to be a tidy lap for Demon. That is a 2-minute 0.5. That's a good first time lap. Corby and Rooney getting in with the 159s. Look at that, almost breaking into the 158. 159.094 by Corby. That's a very strong qualifying lap. I think The world record is a phenomenal 157. I mean, I should remember it would have actually come up when we were looking at the track. Only 3/10 away from Corby's pole setting time. DK Rush landing him for 2 minutes. Gallen improving his practice time by a couple of seconds already on his first time lap. 201.5. Over on the S's. He's out on an outlap there. May have parked the car up. Philly, he's just brought it back into the pits, but he lands a 2 minute. Very nice lap. Waiting for Sami to get a time on the board. He just passes Dirty Monkey down Conrad. This is his first time to lap. A few lag skips going on. He's way off track. This is probably cost him. Yeah, he's just brought that in. That's got to be frustrating. There's just over 7.5 minutes left for qualifying. You see a time come on the standings for Head Farmer. Where will he sit? Moves him into 9th position. 202.764. There's Sami getting back on track. Just pulls out in front of Marky Mark. T-Rex moves aside down Mountain Straight. He's qualified 11th with a 204.7. Looking at cautiously at the moment. I think it's Rooney. Oh, just messes up a long skyline. Narrowly avoids some contact, but he decides to bring that car in. Really not happy with it. And that's Doggy Daddy moving aside Corby. It's 10.4 seconds separating 15 drivers. Several drivers having a little bit of an issue with the S's at the moment. The championship leader Sami, and you get a time on the board. You saw him get a 1:59 in practice. Running about 10 litres heavier than what we saw Corby and I think Rooney was running. I think this is an outlap for Sami. This will be first time. Gonna need a good run. The game will only forgive a couple of minor scrapes to walls before it invalidates the lap. There's only 5 minutes left to get a time on the board. DK Okay, qualifying in third position with a 2-minute 3:77. Really getting a nice run down Conrad. He's getting a little bit of a slip from DK just up ahead. Okay, a nice gap. He's probably going to get a nice lap tucking in behind DK. This lap being an improvement for Philly. Carrying some good speed down pit straight. That does. He bumps Demon Effects down. He takes fourth position. A little bit of a lock as he comes into Hill Corner. That's probably going to give him a slowdown request going wide. So he's brought that in. Depending on his fuel, may have possibly paid to stay out on track. Look at Corby has landed a 158.822. We're now seeing 10.6 seconds spread for 15 drivers, but considering we saw that down to 6 seconds in the practice session, that's only going to look much further when we see Corby breaking into the 158s. He's still trying to get some temp into those tyres to get more out of this car. Sami is back into the pits. He's going to have to be very quick to get this car around on this lap. As if he crosses the line just before the time remaining gets to 0, he will be able to get in a timed lap. Those tyres are going to be rather cool still. And he can't spend too much on this lap trying to get some temp in there. So we're not going to see him probably getting down Conrad and doing a fair bit of weaving. Ooh, a little bit of a lag spike. I saw him dive into that wall. Likely Sami will probably try and use by means of braking down Conrad to actually try and increase some temp into those tyres and the brakes at the same time. That gap's just been reduced. It's 8.7 seconds now. With the slowest time being a 2:07.546. That is still a very quick lap. Well done to Balaki. Railing 2:07.546. Qualifying in 14th, the 2:05.974. Sami looks like he's come up Mountain Straight. Got some traffic coming up as well. Can't afford to make an error here. There's only 20 seconds left of qualifying. Mistake on this lap won't see him get a time on the board. We have a worst case result for qualifying last, finishing last is 102 points, and that's enough for a win, even if Philly is to get a full clean sweep. Oh, big lag spike. A disconnect now would be a definite way for Sami to lose the championship, and it would be a horrendous way to do it. He hasn't brought the car back into the pits. So there hasn't been any contact. We saw him get a 159 in the practice. Can he do it? Still a few lag skips side to side for Sami. Beautiful lap for Sami. Where will this land him? That gets him in the 6th position. That was a 2-minute 6:20. That will suffice. Pretty frustrating qualifying session for Sami. Corby's still out there trying to get more out of this Falcon. He's already landed a 158.822. It's going to be pretty tight to try and beat. He's pretty determined. We've got some drivers doing some burnouts. Hopefully not going to put him off. He's coming in for a pretty big lap. That's a lot of speed down through Murray's. Will he improve the 158.822? No, but not far from. That was a 158.980. I got a few doing burnouts. Head farmers, I think that's AI driving his car. Simo just crosses the line. We have Gallen deciding to do a smoke show for the remaining 30 seconds of our race. Or qualifying, should I say. And there we are. The results for our final qualifying of the Pagnian Imports V8 Supercar Champion. Corby 387 taking a phenomenal pole time, a 158.822. And the rest of the grid, we have Rooney, DK, Philly, Manili, Demon FX, Sami, T-Rex, Gallen, Marky Mark, Head Farmer, McCliff, Dirty Monkey, Simo Simsel, Doggy Daddy, Steph, Balarki in the 8th. And we'll be just having a few minutes break. So we'll be going to our Be Right Back screen, and then we'll be back ready to grid up in about 3 minutes. So do stay tuned. We'll be back very shortly. I did just realise I was on mute. And so welcome back after a short little break. And we should have some audio now, just having a few microphone issues. And we're back after a phenomenal pole setting lap by Corby, setting a 1:58. And then even that last lap, only a 10th off of that time. He was super close to breaking that time again. And drivers got 30 laps ahead of them. There we go, all drivers have readied up. About to see the lights go green for the final round of the V8 Supercar Championship. And away we go. Corby gets off to a super quick start, getting well way out in front of Rooney, ready for turn one. Showing some big pace straight away. Rooney still hanging on, tucking in. Pagnian DK holding back. DK is tucked right in behind Philly. Had a brilliant start. There's Sami going a little bit wide through Quarry. Philly makes a little bit of wall contact. Corby starting to pull away from Rooney. It was a fairly hard scrape. Started to do a bit of damage after a few hits like that. Don't want to be pushing these cars too hard yet. They don't want to be seeing themselves coming in for an early pit. Race lead starting to pull away a little bit. MNFX a little bit off pace down through Forest Elbow. That's allowed Gallen to have a good run down onto him. He's going to tuck in nicely down Conrad. Don't think it's going to be close enough for him to be able to try and make a pass. Could definitely commit to it down into the chase. That opportunity blocked. And championship leader Sami up into 5th position. And pole set out Corby leading in after lap 1. Putting almost a second over position 2 at this stage. And Rooney hang on and try and close that gap in on Corby. Corby just going to absolutely keep pushing down super quick laps. 205.5 for a grid start lap. That is pretty quick. DK starting to drop away from Philly. So like a little bit of rear slip as he heads up through the cutting. Looks like Philly is closing that gap down in on Rooney. Rooney could start feeling a little bit of pressure from Philly. That will suit Corby quite nicely. Once Rooney's a little bit occupied, We'll be able to focus on the track ahead, try and push that gap out even more. Put over a second already, just over a course of a lap. T-Rex has copped himself a post-race time penalty. Doggy Daddy showing a bit of damage on my screen. I think he's taking a hit to that front right. Rooney teetering on that gap between himself and Corby. DK still trying to hang on to Philly. And Marky Mark battling it out with T-Rex. Carried a lot of speed out of turn one. T-Rex seems to be pulling away down Mountain Straight. DK last lap only 2 tenths away from Philly's time. Nice cackle from that exhaust. The end brakes down into the S's. Very nice line. Both Rooney and Philly within reach at this stage. A little bit slippery from Mark as he comes down into the approach of Forest Elbow. That could have gone badly. It was a nice save. It did cost him all the momentum that he was building to catch up to T-Rex. He almost drops tyre up into the dirt coming through Murray's. Bobby still leads the way. We're on lap 4 of 30. Championship leader Sami currently in 5th position. Got a bit of spacing. 4 seconds away from DK. And almost 3 seconds ahead of Gallant. Nice close up with just a bit of tarmac there. Bit of a lag hit from Gallant. Freeway battle going for position 10. Polaki in the mix. And in between T-Rex and Marky Mark. Not sure if he's moved up or he might have dropped down. Philly's found his way to the tail of Rooney. Bump of Philly's car as he's chasing down Rooney, getting a massive speed in that slipstream. Carried a lot of speed through the chase. Very tidy line. DK quietly tucking in behind. Corby still our race leader around lap 5 of 30. They're running sufficient fuel to get them through the course of the 30 laps. Philly's dropped away from Rooney. He was a good half a second quicker on that last lap. It looks like he didn't have a good run through the turn 1. That's made him lose some momentum in chasing down Rooney. Mikey Mike has gotten past Balaki. Balaki's still hanging on. Doggy Daddy just making his way into the out of the pits. He's taken a fair bit of damage there by the looks. I think that shattered windscreen. Steering appears to be a tad shaky still. Not sure what's going on there. We'll make our way through the rest of the list. So we have Steph currently running 15th. 30 Monkey in 14th. Umo in 13th. Blakey in 12th. Still hanging on to Nike Mark. Currently in 11th. Was trying to close in on 10th position, but T-Rex is managing to keep him at bay. A couple of seconds ahead in 9th position is Mick Cliff. His last lap at 2:05.476. Improves that by 3 tenths. Head Farmer up in 8th position. Demon Effects in 7th. He's about 4 seconds ahead of Head Farmer. 6 seconds away from Gallon in 6th position. He's looking to chase down Sami. Got a 4-second lead over Gallon currently. Probably a nice, comfortable position for Sami to be in at this stage. No traffic around. You can just focus on doing some consistent, clean laps. Not going to put him at risk of incident. With no penalties, if he was to finish in 16th position, still enough to win the championship. But it would be great to see a victory to wrap up a very strong series for Sami. A few slowdown penalties given. T-Rex, Mikey Mark and Simo Simsel now wearing them. Now DK in 4th, starting to really close that gap back in again on on Philly. The two quickly catching up to Rooney. DK gets a much better run through turn 1. Billy goes wide through turn 2. He's lost the position to DK. He moves up into P3. DK's sights now set on Rooney. He's still within reach of the race lead. He's only behind by 3.8 seconds. Little bit of debris across the track. on the turn-in for Skyline. That could be a little bit slippery. Someone's gone off wide. A little bit of slip out of the dipper from DK. He's pushing this car really hard. Flies it through Forest Elbow. A little bit of lock up on that back left. Corby still in the lead, pushing out that gap. The last lap was a 2:02.35. That one a 2:03.2. Better still be landing 2:03s with a full load of fuel and being out the front. He set a 2:05 off the grid. That is very quick and very consistent. Can he hold out for another 22 laps? Anything can happen. Ooh, Philly makes wall contact. I think that may have been rather heavy. Really put him off pace. Not sure if that's impacted the car's performance at all. Backs off and turns in to see that debris. It has actually been pushed out more to the outside of the corner. Should be a little bit safer now. GK. Corby also making the crucial area, costing him some time. That 2-second lead's dropped down to only 2 tenths. It's almost a freeway battle for the race lead. Rooney gets him down Conrod, and DK gets him as well. He's lost 2 positions down Conrod straight, but they're going to be a lot of aero wash. This could be almost a shunt. DK had a great slipstream run down there, tagged in on that pass. Corby's heading off into the pits, cuts it, heading into the pits. They're going to swap out tyres and then it'll be an early pit strategy. I don't think he's taken any damage. His car looks to be alright. Seems to be driving okay. That race leader is now Rooney. The steering correction going on for Philly. Don't forget, if you are just joining us for the stream and you haven't hit that follow button, do so. We appreciate growing support for Apex eSports League and all our members. If you want to get involved in our racing, there is all the information to do so on our Facebook page. It's fb.com/Apex eSports League. We're not only on PlayStation for Project Cars. And this is playable from PS4 and PS5. You're one of the lucky ones to have upgraded your console. Can still run this game. And of course, we are on iRacing on Monday nights. We can have a much larger grid size out on track. If you want to get involved in our league races for that, you can follow our Facebook link and find all the information, or do a search for Apex eSports League in iRacing. guys, our social media link has the shortcuts for you to be able to join up. Cliff starting to close down in on Velaki. Mick's been in and pit as well. I do believe we saw him come out just on this lap. He was exiting the pits as Corby was coming in. DK putting some big pressure on Rooney. He's chased him down for the full 10 laps. Tagged on for a pass with Rooney getting around Corby. It did look like Corby didn't try and fight it too much. I think he was anticipating to pit in. Especially if he did make a slight error, make a little bit of war contact. Getting in and getting that sorted now. He can last out the remaining 20 laps. Still going to be of a benefit to him. He's re-entered the race back in position 10. I think may not have actually pit. Well, there's only about 20 seconds. Look, DK goes for a move on Conrad. Goes for a second attempt around the bend. That was a very good attempt. And his last lap at 202.9, DK at 203. Look at that, very similarly paced at 203.963 and a 949. DK can sit tight on Rooney's tail for the rest of the section across the mountain. I think he's going to be able to get him on Conrad. Ooh, a little bit slippery for Rooney. Let's put him into the wall, and then back into DK. That could have almost taken out DK. He escaped from that, very lucky. Rooney managed to save it from worst incident, but that car is well beat up. Makes wall contact again. That car is quite significantly damaged now. That's quite unfortunate. Very sad for Rooney. Billy now being able to catch up. Rooney's car not probably being able to handle too well at this stage. Billy's going to have to play heed in passing him. He does not want to risk missing out on getting around. Billy moves up into P2. Rooney will be bringing that into the pits now. Here he comes. We see DK leading the way. Got 3.4 seconds over Philly. He's 7.5 seconds away from the race lead. He's got 4 seconds to catch up to Philly. He's been putting down some pretty good pace. He's almost about a second quicker last time around compared to Philly. The still seeing 204.4 from Philly. That's still very quick race pace, especially with 62 litres of fuel on board. Oh, wall scrape. We're nearing the halfway point, lap 12 of 30. Can anticipate to see a few of the drivers head into the pits. So it wasn't Mick Cliff that we did actually see pit before. I think his pit crew was green. I think it actually may have been Gallen pitting in. Some lap traffic. I think past Gallen just getting around Steph. Currently on lap 11, showing a lap down. Steph is chasing down Dirty Monkey. Kudos to Dirty for getting these beasts around the mountain on the controller as well. Looks like he's fighting a little bit of damage. That's probably going to be a benefit to Steph to try and get around. I don't think he's going to get great speed down here. Not too far off. So he may have been in and got it fixed. It may just be residual visual damage to the car. DK leading on lap 13. Marky Mark's now heading to the pits. DK's landing some great laps out there. 203.678. He's furthering the lead over Philly, which he's going to need to do when he has to head into the pits. Try and put as much gap on him as he can. Blarkey just up ahead of DK. Corby's last lap was a 201.558. Times like that he's going to be quickly catching that gap up. You can expect about probably 30 to 40 seconds for pit stops. That should be with the pit time plus the in and out of pit lane. With some backmarker traffic coming up, DK will need to decide whether he tries to get around and not get held up. We have to decide, since he's around the halfway point, should he just head in and get his pit out of the way? DK gets around nicely. It was well timed. That was well done by Blarkey, moving out of the way just at the right moment. Kudos to Blarkey for that. Very well done for Blarkey. Army up in third position. That's Philly just up ahead now. A little bit loose coming out of Forest Elbow. Does look like there may be a little bit of damage to Philly's car. There was a couple of wall hits he's had. He gets a nice run in the slipstream from Philly. Philly starts to pull away. And then off he peels into the pits. That moves Sami up into position 2. Runs a little wide through Murray's. Race leader DK now leading by 8.5 seconds. Head Farmer currently in 10th position and quickly gaining down on 9th. Marky Mark within reach. Mark also having a post-race time penalty that he's wearing. There's only 1 second. It looks like all drivers have got 1 second. For Simo Simsel with 2-second penalty. I'm not sure if that shows on the broadcast screen just how many drivers it shows. There's Philly. Very quick stop in and out. Ranter's back in 7th position. Allen, I do believe, has been in and pit. And Corby has been in. It was a rather early pit. It's hard to tell whether he'll need to head back in, whether it was planned. Corby's currently 38 seconds away from the race lead. He's got T-Rex, Demon Effects and Sami needing to pit. And race leader DK just heading into the pits now. Sami stays out on track. We're now on lap 16 of 30. Sami needs to try and put as much gap on as he can. Demon decides to stay out on track as well. Moves him up into position 2. Probably a slightly longer stop for DK. He does have that damage from the collision that he had with Rooney. There was the incident at the cutting where Rooney hit the wall and then bounced back across into DK. Not sure how much damage he actually took. The car seemed to be handling okay afterwards. Corby closing down on T-Rex. T-Rex needing to head in and pit. Steph now just heading into the pits. Finishing up, racing for position. Risky manoeuvre. Definitely costs Corby, so he doesn't want to get caught up in here. However, he also doesn't want to lose too much momentum. Looks like he's going to go for a pass through Forest Elbow. PX may just yield this to him rather than fighting him for it, especially when he does need to head into the pits at some stage. Sami heads into the pits now. Oh, a little bit of lag showing on T-Rex. Terex heads into the pits. Probably moves up into position 3. Yeah, Simo Simsel just up ahead. Blue flag will be shown for Simo. Probably going to try and use as much slipstream advantage here. A little ways off. He wants to try and get around before the cutting. Otherwise, there's no real safe spots. There's a bit of debris on track. That's looks like yellow boot lid and bonnet. Not sure whose car that is. Corby makes some wall contact. I think that's Doggy Daddy's car. Missing the bonnet and boot lid. That car's not handling well at all. He's taken some critical damage. That looks like Demon Effects coming up on him. Demon having the race lead on lap 17. Doggy just cut straight through that car, not wanting to turn. A much safer option just to run wide and avoid staying on the track. That'll be a lengthy stop to get that car fixed up. She's looking in pretty bad shape. I also just noticed a lag spike, almost to the point of someone joining or disconnecting. But all 16 cars still in the grid. Gallion sitting hot tight on the tail of Philly. Slightly wide for help. Corby now 10.5 seconds away from Demon. Demon will need the pit. Looks like Demon's lap times have slowed just a little bit. Maybe contending with a little bit of tyre wear. Plus with traffic approaching as well. Gonna have to decide whether he stays out and can try and get around. That car's still performing nicely. He can get around some lap traffic. He could use that to his advantage, try and put a little bit of a gap between himself and Corby. DK only 2 seconds away from Corby. Demon does need to head into the pits. When he heads into the pits, Corby will take the race lead. Well, Corby is back into the pits again. I did mention before that early pit stop. He did get a very good start. I don't think it would have been a drive-through as he did pull up for the second pit stop here. It's definitely going to cost victory for Corby. DK now in position 2. And he's only 10 seconds away from Demon Effects. And then we take into account 30 to 40 seconds just to get in and out of the pits for a quick stop. Billy doing well in position 3. Managed to put some distance between himself and Gallant. And just lap Steph, gets around nice and quickly, doesn't slow him down. Rooney doing battle with Sami. He's just put that car into the wall. That was quite a hefty hit. Don't forget, if you're watching the stream, jump in the chat, let us know who you're here to cheer on. Demon Effects now into the pits. DK claims the lead. That's going to have a very strong lead. Philly on approach to get around Demon as well. He's put a big gap over Gallant. He's now currently in position 3. Corby after the second pit stop. Looks like he's taken some damage again. I'm not sure if that's lag though. The car seems to be side skipping a fair bit. Yeah, sorry, I'm actually climb up over that wall. And he just laps Steph. Rod's quickly catching up to Sami. Not sure if he's contending with damage that's slowing him down. Or if perhaps some lap traffic got in between Sami and Rooney, furthering that gap. So there's now 3 seconds between them. Demon, after his mandatory pit, comes back out on track in position 6. He's looking well to be able to last out the remaining 10 laps. Should be a good finish for Demon. In goes Gallant. Perhaps that wasn't the lag that we're seeing when he was making some wall contact. He may have actually taken some damage, unless he hasn't been in and pit. Rooney also in. I think he's contending with some damage. Car seems to be crap walking a little bit. This will be looking good for DK Philly and Sami. That's going to put a very strong lead. Philly very similarly paced to DK at this point. Only 1/10 slower last lap around compared to DK. .202 race pace. It's going to be hard to try and beat. Going to have to keep some very consistent 202s. I just hope that DK isn't as consistent. You can definitely close that gap in. It is Bathurst, anything can happen. It is very unforgiving. Tiniest of mistakes. Slamming into a wall. We'll see heading into the pits again. little bit of spacing going on, so we'll make our way through the standings. We have Doggy Daddy currently running in 16th position. On lap 19. You see him in just before having to contend with some significant damage after losing bonnet and boot lid. Steph currently running in 15th. About 40 seconds behind, in front of Doggy. A minute behind Simo Simzel. They're currently in 14th. Dirty Monkey in 13th position. I think got about 18 seconds to catch up to Marky Mark. We've got a little bit of a battle going on for 9th position. Corby looking to reclaim some positions. Mick just moves out of the way for him. Mick's last lap, 206.5. Probably a 201.6. Still getting some very quick laps out there. We'll keep making our way through. Marky Mark running in 12th position. Only 10 seconds away from 11th. Larky showing a little bit of front end damage. That bar flapping loose. Currently a lap down. We have Nick Cliff in 10th position. He's on lap 22. Minute 18 behind the race lead. Corby up in 9th position. Looking to reclaim multiple positions. He's 11 seconds away from position 8. That's Head Farmer. Oh, I think that's Sami, or is that Dirty Monkey that's been turned around? It's Dirty Monkey. I think there's a little bit of a glitch going on. I think the car may actually be stuck in the wall. He's going to have to need a car reset, and if he hasn't set a car reset, can he get the car off the wall? No, I think he did get the car off the wall. That was well done. He kept that track position nice and safe. It was quite a risky spot for where that crash occurred. Things could have gone bad for oncoming cars, but not quickly rushing out onto the track, keeping it nice and clean. Very well done there, Dirty. Unfortunate incident. This is probably going to head into the pits. Larky's been in a bit. Head Farmer in 9th, heads into the pits. Make our way back up through. Rooney in position 7. Gallon 350 in 6th. 2 seconds away from T-Rex. Do believe he's got a 1 second time penalty. I've got to scroll up. He's only got 1 second. Sami's also wearing a second. T-Rex running in 5th position. Demon Effects in 4th. Philly in 3rd. He's taken some damage. But he lost the position to Sami. How bad is the damage as he's staying out on track? He's only got another 6 laps to go. If he can press on, and that car's doing okay. He's got 10 seconds between himself and Demon. That lap was a 2:17, so he's gone off and made contact with the wall. Dummy looking pretty good in position too. Looking like a great finish to be able to wrap up the V8 Supercar Championship. We'll be able to walk away tonight being the series champion. DK looking great to be able to take victory in the final race. We're on lap 24 of 30. He's got an 18.3 second lead. Gallen's now quickly caught up to T-Rex. Scrapes that wall. Just pulls it up in time. Nice and tidy down through the S's. There was some wall contact, but I think that was lag. And Philly's brought that car into the pits. Obviously that damage was affecting the car too much. That's unfortunate. That's cost him his spot on the podium. 5 laps to go, having to head in for some repairs at this stage. Hopefully there's not too much damage to contend with. He's got Gallen and T-Rex making the way past. Rooney's not too far from. Looking well beaten at this stage. We're doing pretty well. No retirements. This track usually has a high attrition rate. It's doing well. Billy's back out on track. Come back out in 7th position. That's still good. He's only 8 seconds away from Rooney. I think he's dealing with a damaged car out there. Everyone's saying that his last lap was a 2:05. That damage may either be lag or just residual from the previous incident. He's catching up to Steph. Showing the blue flag, gets around the skyline. That was perfectly timed. Great pass, and then great manoeuvre for Steph to not lose that much pace from her own lap and still let the faster driver through. Fantastic racecraft there, shown by Steph. Catching up to some traffic as well. Sure, who that is, maybe. Ed Farmer. Yes, it does appear. Ed Farmer just up ahead of Sami. Very consistent laps by our front runners. All setting 2:02s in the last time around. bring up the fuel load. DK currently running 35 litres, Sami running 33, slightly wide through Forest. Minor wall scrape on that exit. Demon running much lighter, he's got 21 litres. Going similarly loaded as DK and Sami. Looked like he was about to put it into the wall then, but that was just lag. There's lots of glistening all over the track. There's a bit of debris scattered across. Billy gets around Steph. Not too far away from Rooney. He looks to be missing the front end of his car. That's some pretty big damage. He's going to be losing a fair bit of speed. I think he only got that up to about 260, 270 down Conrod. Yeah, that car's not steering all. He decides to keep it in on the track still. That's looking in pretty bad shape. Seems to be panel damage. Doesn't appear to be affecting the steering. Opting to keep the car out on track still, probably a good idea. He's going to lose way more positions by bringing that car in just to fix that. The car's still holding the corners. Just losing a little bit of speed, that's not too bad with only 3 laps remaining. He's got 6 seconds before Corby catches up to him. Corby needing to get around Steph. And he did start to close that gap in on Philly again. Philly must have made an error. Lose a fair bit of pace. Fatigue would definitely be setting in on the drivers now. It's not an easy track to navigate. It is very exhausting. In 28 laps, especially after coming off 30 minutes driving from practice and qualifying. Looking good to finish the championship. Is currently in position 2. 16 seconds away from the race lead. He's about 19 seconds away from position 3. Another 15 seconds is Gallen. 4th would be a great outcome for Gal. Billy Gray coming back into 6th position after having that extra pit to contend with damage. After running up in the top 3 for a good portion. There it is the big points. So the final race is double that of the main race from previous round. 240 points for the win. Taking 6 for the final race for Philly. Should definitely be enough to be able to maintain position 2 on the championship standings. To be able to take second rung on the podium for the championship. A great outcome. Oh, we just had someone take out a traffic cone. Not sure if someone's on approach into the pits. That is Simo Simsel currently heading in the pits. His car's heavily damaged. I think he's missing bonnet and boot. Lap 29 and 30. DK now catching up to Nick Cliff by the looks of it. Be lapping position 9. I think that's Marky Mark's car heading into the pits. Yeah, he's taken a heavy hit as well. Pit crew rushing out to meet him. Dirty Monkey pulls over and lets some traffic through. We've got Corby hunting down Rooney. We're on approach into the final lap. These two racing for position, and Rooney's heavily damaged already. Some lag showing for Corby. Things could go very wrong. I saw some more contact, but it looked like it was lag. They're going to have to play very cautiously here. Rooney's not going to have the top end speed. He's slightly inside for this corner. It's going to be risky to come back on, especially with lag glitches from both of the cars. They could be making contact without being aware. Rooney's just going to have to tuck in and stay behind. He's not going to have the speed to be able to maintain that position from Corby. He does get in front. He's got good probably 45 seconds or so between himself and position 9. Rooney just needs to last out this lap. But here we have DK, a race leader, making his final lap for the final race of the Pagnian Imports V8 Supercar Championship. He's going to be taking home the checkered flag at Bathurst. What a drive for DK. He's had a fantastic run. Well done, DK. Bit of a smoky across the finish line, well deserved. And Sami taking a spot on the podium. This will be the championship win. Sami wins the championship. Got plenty of time to slow down. He has lost the position by pulling up to do a victory burnout before, thinking he had more time. What a way to finish out the series. Gonna have to cross the line now. The Demon's gonna get him. There he goes, crosses the line. P2, well done. Demon on the podium, position 3, well done. Gallenbring up in position 4. Congratulations, great drive. T-Rex and Philly racing it out down the final straight. They both wearing some time penalties, not affecting their position. T-Rex takes 5th, Philly in 6th. That's a great outcome for Philly's recovery. Unfortunate luck for Corby, but still to come across the line in 7th position. Well done. Oh, there's been a huge crash down through Murray's. Not sure whose car that is. I think that's Simo Simsel just deciding to bomb that car. His safety rating is going to be absolutely taking a hammering here. Dirty Monkey also doing the same. There's 50 seconds to get final laps done. Rooney's crossed. Nick, not sure if he's already crossed the line or not. There we have it, the final results. DK Rush taking victory in the final race and leading by 40 seconds over Sami. Fantastic drive from DK. And then Sami taking position 2. That secured his win for the championship. And then Demon Effects also on the podium in position 3. Then the rest of the standings we have Gallen, T-Rex, Philly Manilli, Corby, Rooney, Mickliffe, Head Farmer, Balaki, Marky Mark, Dirty Monkey, Steph, Doggy Daddy, and Simo Simsel. And no retirements, which is great. And actually, Simo Simsel only on lap 27, something 3 laps down, so very good outcome considering 30 laps of 16 cars and having them all finished. We'll be inviting DK, Sami, and Demon into the chat for an interview. And we'll just have a look and see who got the fastest lap bonus points. So it looks like it's a 2:01 time. I think, oh no, it's a 2 minute. Rooney sets a 2-minute 5:80. I think that is the quickest time there from what I can see. Yes, a 2 minute. So very quick. So we'll be seeing these guys come in a moment. It takes me a little bit to add them in. We'll have DK, Sami, and Demon in here. Invites have sent through, so we'll see them loading in momentarily. If you do have any questions for our drivers, do throw them in the chat, we can relay it. There we go, we've got the guys joining in now. And congratulations, DK, what a drive.
Thank you very much, JT. First win with the Apex eSports League, so...
Oh, really? Well done.
Yep.
And Bathurst as well with nearly 41-second lead.
I couldn't be happier in the V8s at Bathurst, mate. Can't get more Aussie than that.
No, that's it. A great way to wrap it up.
So, yeah, congrats to Demon and Sami for the podiums. That was good.
Yeah, well done, DK. It was an awesome drive, mate.
Yeah. I think I just got lucky when Corby and Rooney had issues hitting the wall and got some damage. So, other than that,
you were quickly closing in on them quite early, though. You were putting that pressure on pretty early.
Yeah, I just burnt my softs out.
Yeah.
So I ran softs for both stints, and yeah, by the second last lap, I had to sort of coast it home. And sort of lap 13, 14 and 15 I had to coast it around as well because I had no front right tyre left.
Yeah. Yeah, well it worked out well in the end.
Yeah.
Great job and congratulations, Sami, that's the championship for you.
Thanks, mate. It's a nice way to wrap it up. I was pushing to try and close that gap to DK, but it just never moved. Sort of maintained at that 17, 16 second mark, so he did a good job.
Yeah, no, it was good. And yeah, well done, Demon, for the podium. It was a great run. You had a good lead out for the front for a while as well, and putting a bit of gap on before you had to head into the pits.
Yeah, did a bit of testing, and I didn't think the softs would go 15 laps in the first half, so I put hards on the front finding out that DK ran softs. I'm a bit jealous now, but so I ran the hards and I lost a lot of time in the first stint. And I probably should have pitted in a little bit earlier because it was about lap 19 when I went in. And the way the softs held up in the second half, I probably should have just went softs. But I don't think I would have caught these two. And I think all three of us were just rewarded for not putting it in the wall.
Yeah, that's right.
100%.
So
Yep.
well done, DK and Sami, and well done, Sami, on
Thanks,
the championship.
Damon. Yeah,
Thanks.
congrats
Thanks,
Sami, on
Damon.
the championship, mate. That was well done.
Cheers. Thanks for
Yeah,
that.
it is the
Yeah,
race
a
of
great drive
attrition,
by all.
and we didn't have any retirements, and only 3 laps down.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
that was awesome.
I couldn't.
Position 16, so that's pretty good.
I couldn't ask for a better birthday present.
Oh, happy birthday!
It's my birthday on the weekend, 28th.
Okay,
An early birthday.
That was good.
Yeah.
Early birthday present.
yeah, go and
I'm
have a beer to
stoked.
celebrate.
I'm stoked.
Cheers.
Good work.
Guys, congratulations, guys, and look forward to
you all.
seeing you
Thank
in the
you,
GT4s next week.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Thanks, JT. Thanks for another great series.
Yeah,
Alright.
congrats again, Sami, on the championship, mate. Well
Cheers,
deserved.
mate. Yeah, thanks, mate. Much appreciated.
Yeah, good stuff. Thank you very much, JT.
No worries. And then we have DK taking victory in the final race. And then him mentioning it's his first win with Apex, and what a way to take the win. So congratulations. And then also with Sami taking podium and the championship win. And then Demon also on the podium. And then next week we start our last series for 2021, and that is the GT4 Championship. It's going to be a lot of fun seeing the GT4s battle it out over 4 rounds. We'll bring up the same details so I can see what you're seeing on screen. We will be at Circuit of the Americas for the opening round. So if you haven't hit that follow button yet, do so then you'll be notified when we go live. And then we do have more racing action on Monday night with iRacing with the Ferrari 488s. So thanks for tuning in, and hope to see you trackside next time.